This is a review for the Traveller core rulebook role-playing game. First of all, I'll just say straight off the top, I think this is a really good game, a really strong role-playing game. My group don't play sci-fi that much, but they've really got into this. One of the best things about the game is the character design. You've got a whole host of different career paths you can go into: merchant, marine, army, navy, scout, nobility, rogue, agent, scholar. There are 12 different career paths, and there are 3 specializations within each career. So you've got like 36 different possibilities to every character. We've not had any character come even close to the same. And then if you're going to be, for instance, a marine, then you've got the choice. You'd either be a support marine, which is like a quartermaster or an engineer, a star marine, which is like marines who focus on fighting in space, or a ground assault. You're like thrust out the spaceship and you have to attack the planet. And every career has like these really clear, broad categories within it. And they each have something different about them. It's not just going to be a name. Generally speaking, the more dangerous a career is, the more likely you are to get promoted in it, which gets you more money and more skills. But of course, the more dangerous it is, you might suffer some really nasty injuries while you're building your characters. Character creation takes quite a while, but it's like in the best way possible. It's a simple stat system, strength, dex, endurance, intelligence, education, and social standard. And these stats and the massive amount of skills really come into play with how your character is built. If you have a high strength or a decent or broker skill, then if something like that comes up in your character's career, you're more likely to succeed at it if you're good at it, or if you're not good at it, you'll fail. So the character design is great. One of the other best things about Traveller is that it fits so many different sci-fi settings. And, the number of times that you play Dungeons & Dragons with someone and they'll say, oh, why don't we do a Lord of the Rings game or a Warhammer game using the D&D, and it doesn't quite gel up. Traveller is designed to fit into whether you want to play Star Trek, Firefly, Warhammer 40,000. There's a really simple mechanic to the game. Most things are take 2d6, roll them, add your appropriate stat, so strength or dex, add your appropriate skills, so piloting or mechanics or stealth, and you need to roll 8 or more. And that's basically it for most things. Of course, there are exceptions, like in long tasks or tasks that are easier or more difficult, but as a general mechanic it works really well. It's really easy to explain. World building that comes in the game, it really encourages you to build up your own subsector. And there are fantastic rules for generating planets. I mean, we've done a whole subsector, 40 planets, and they're all interesting. You could set an entire roleplay on even one of them. So the spaceship design is really good. Because with such good character design rules, the spaceship plays such an important role in most sci-fi, and like Firefly, Serenity is such an important part of the show, or Red Dwarf, Spacebug. They've almost got as much character as the characters. So you can, if you want, just buy your normal sort of ships, and they're all laid out. You can see the layout of the ships, and if you do it, it's cheaper and it's quicker. So it's good that they list these, but there are loads of rules to customizing your ship. Is that they can their ship can have a history, and along the way it might have been used as a military ship, in which case the thrusters might have been damaged, or it might be a certain culture might remember it from a conflict and hate the players when they turn up at it, and things like that. Things that make the ship cheaper, but kind of bad effects. Which if you want the Enterprise and you want a perfect ship that never goes wrong, well, you can have that. But if you want a Serenity that's gonna fall apart all the time, and that's part of the fun, then you could do that. The problems with the game: it is not the highest quality paper in these books. If you're used to like Wizards of the Coast or Fantasy Flight, this is just paper. It will tear, it will stain horribly, rather than like the sort of veneer paper that you get in those products. Another thing that gets is the combat in this game is a little flat compared to Dungeons & Dragons or World of Darkness. The simple mechanic makes combat a bit too simple. There are very in-depth rules for trading, which is great, but if you want to just do a quick trade, the game doesn't lend itself to that. It lends itself to careful trade planning, thinking if we buy gems off this planet and sell them to the rich planet, we can make a bigger markup, and we have to find the supplier and the trader. and everything. Characters, as I already said, are very fragile. You don't have hit points. Instead, your stats go down as you're injured, which means that a single unlucky shot can cripple, literally cripple, your character, which, given how long you spend making them, is a bit of a problem. There's perhaps not quite enough equipment, and this is always a problem in any sci-fi roleplay that tries to span, old ancient technology and super futuristic technology. It's never going to cater for everything. The weapons section is quite well done. The vehicles section the Starship section is great, but the vehicles it's not really anything to brag about. So, to conclude, best things, the character design is amazing. Better than any game I've ever played. It's almost a game in itself. We have made more characters to this game, considering how many games we've played, than any other game. And the other best thing is the fit, the fact that it can be put into any setting. You've got multiple role plays within a single role play. And if I had to choose the worst thing, it would be the combat. Might just be that my group's used to quite in-depth combat, but this just seemed a little damp. Okay, that's my review of Traveller. I've given it 4 stars because it's not quite a perfect roleplay, but it's really, really close. And it will just get you, if you're not inspired by it, then I don't really know what would inspire you. Okay, thank you very much.